Over the last few months, there has been an almost endless amount of talk surrounding Project Scorpio, or the Xbox One Scorpio, and of course the PlayStation 4 Neo. Now, of course, we've had plenty of sort of perspectives on this, including my own, and of course Paul's, and industry insiders, and developers, and everything else. But now we have some thoughts from the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, who apparently is absolutely thrilled by the potential of the upgraded PlayStation and Xbox consoles. Now, of course, one of the things that's been talked about a lot surrounding the Scorpio and the Neo is that they could have very long-reaching and long-lasting implications for the future of console generations. And according to Tim Sweeney, our current console generations are ineffective at best. In such an environment, upgraded consoles could be just the right thing to change things up a little bit. Now, he spoke to Eurogamer saying, quote, "I'm absolutely thrilled with this. It gives you the best of both worlds, the upgrade cycle of the PC, which ensures that people always have access to the latest and greatest hardware, and games don't go out of date over a 7-year cycle, together with the fact that there's a box you can go and buy, or 2 boxes, and you're guaranteed that everything can work." And I think the configurations for developers are very reasonable. From an industry insider perspective, the console industry will grow and sustain its user base much better if it doesn't have to reset its user base to 0 every 7 years. The idea of throwing everything out and doing everything from scratch every 7 years is completely crazy, and everything Epic's done with our new game development approach, including these online games we're going to maintain over time, it's about building games where we don't have to reset our user base to 0 when we want to add new features. So, while that's an interesting opinion, and I certainly agree, the most critical thought process that is going to be the sort of make or break for both the Neo and Scorpio, and whether or not this changes console generations, is of course the opinion of the consumer. Consoles are already very expensive, and while the very long generation with the PS3 and Xbox 360 was definitely a misnomer, by no means should we be having a console cycle that long. Usually they're about 4 to 5 years, maybe 3 to 4 sometimes. But even then, consoles are still very expensive, and having them upgrade every few years might be a bit of a tougher sell than what we have recently had to the consumer. However, if the sort of promise of, hey, look, everything's going to run on the Xbox One and everything's going to run on the Scorpio runs true, and if Sony do something similar, which I would fully expect them to do, to be honest, then it's only an advantage to the consumer in my mind, because you have a choice of, look, you have a cheaper box that can play the games, it just doesn't look as nice or doesn't run as well or whatever. As long as it's playable, 30 at 900p or 1080 or whatever it happens to be, cool. And then of course you've got the more expensive box that, hey, look, you can have 60 FPS, and if it's not a 1080p game, you can have 1080p and 4K maybe on some games. So although they need to calm down on the 4K, because even top end PCs struggle with 4K on some of the really high end games. So with that in mind, it seems like an advantage for the consumer if the games can run across everything. At least that way you're not locking people out of the old hardware. You can still play the newest games even if you don't have a Scorpio. So in a way, it's a bit of an easier sell. You're not saying, hey, you have to upgrade or you can't play the latest games. It's, hey, you could upgrade if you want the latest games to run a bit better, which in my mind seems like a fairer choice. It's pretty much obviously how things work on PC. I could technically run a game on a low-end GPU or whatever. I would obviously have to reduce the settings. It won't look as good, it won't run as well, but that's my choice. And of course, I don't have to upgrade to the newest tech if I don't want to. Obviously that only lasts so long, but that would be the same case for the console generation. At some point we are going to upgrade most likely to something that doesn't work on the Xbox One or PS4 or whatever, and that is going to change things. But I think, to be honest, it is going to be a positive for the consumer, but of course it's up to the consumers to actually sort of vote with not only with their voices but with their wallets as well. So I'd love to hear your opinions, at least in the comment sections below. Do let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.